Let's see, if something costs less, but people are
And welcome to another edition of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, episode 999. As I have taken a couple of weeks off, and now I am back into the swing of things because we have got the start of football season. As the calendar hit August, it's time to have high school football, college football, and the NFL. I will get into my experience at SEC Media Days. Also had a little bit of a vacation, and then coming back, we had high school football media days last week. We've got our jam-packed lineup on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, new logo, everything's different, but it's yet the same. And I'm actually going to get on here and going to have a few announcements as well. We got the new coaches poll out for the college football season. I will break that down as well. The Atlanta Braves played in front of 85,000 fans. And can a Major League Baseball team survive in Tennessee? I'm thinking that is the next big media market to have a Major League Baseball team. And I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the Columbus Cleanstones. I'll talk about everything I can as far as local sports. But as I try to pivot this podcast to maybe talk more national, because, we have football just around the corner. The Atlanta Falcons preseason game this weekend against the Detroit Lions. And I'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons as well. But let's get right into the show. I did mention that this is episode 999. I took a little bit of a break trying to retool the show. This is actually going on my YouTube channel. So I'm not going to have this on my Facebook page. But, of course, you can always catch an audio version of this podcast found on Apple and Spotify. Had a great time up in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. I want to thank DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer from Sports Visions 92.1 for allowing me to be a part of the Sports Visions team representing for SEC Media Days. Now, it wasn't a moment where I was in awe because I got to see Paul Feinbaum and Laura Rutledge and Jake Crane and Josh Pate. I was more in awe of the fact that the information that I was able to get and to receive was just overwhelming. And it's going to actually give me the tools and resources to be successful when I'm covering college football this upcoming season. I was excited that we got to interview Josh Pate. Thrift Behringer interviewed him, and I was able to interview Jake Crane. We also had WRBL's Jack Patterson. We had WTVM's Tony Reese, and we also had Drew Pavon and Jonathan Hoppy. As we interviewed them every day, we had a hit on the road with Sports Visions live from SEC Media Days. So much to get into. Let's go ahead and dive right into the show as my iPad is actually going off. Need to set that to silent. I don't understand why I don't have it on silent. All right. Let's dive right into the show. All right. Okay. Let's have a real conversation here because I'm trying to figure out the direction of this podcast. I admit I've been doing a lot of stuff with Georgia Alabama Sports Live and with Sports Visions, which for that I'm very grateful. But you talk about the journey of broadcasting starting about 5.5 years ago, really 6 years ago, when around the end of 2019, I actually strongly considered doing sports talk radio. It was my college buddy, Nathan Spees, who got me into the podcasting business, and the rest is history. But I do want to give a special shout out to somebody that, meant a lot to me in my broadcasting career, who unfortunately passed away over the weekend. Bill Evans, who was a sales manager at WLTZ. He gave me an opportunity to do broadcasting on the CW and Beam TV in East Alabama for Russell County Smith Station and Glenwood. Was very blessed that I was able to do the 2022 season. And that's really where I got more experience, and then able to call games for Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and I've been doing it ever since. So I did appreciate Bill Evans for giving me that opportunity. He definitely will be missed. And just prayers go out to the family. Bill Evans passed away at the age of 72. There were some people on my hearts and on my mind. It's been sad the last couple of weeks. Just a lot of celebrity deaths that really took an impact, especially Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan. Now, at one time, Hulk Hogan was part of my intro music on the sports beat. And when you think of sports, you think of Crazy Train. Ozzy Osbourne was just phenomenal when it comes to the song Crazy Train, which is one of those songs that, PA announcers will play to hype up the crowd, to get them ready for a game. And, as a PA announcer, I was able to have that privilege of playing music during games. And so that was pretty incredible. And I also, with everything that's been going on, SEC Media Days, went on vacation. I filled in for Thrift on Sports Visions while he was on vacation. It's really been a great opportunity. I've been truly blessed. And now school is back in session for Muskogee County. Now, next week, Alabama will be in session. But, the kids going back to school, always a great time. And I appreciate, that everybody that is getting back into the swing of things as we have sports on the horizon when it comes to fall athletics. In fact, as we speak, Pacelli is taking on Flint River Academy in softball. I was looking at the weather. It looks like it's going to rain all week long, but that's okay. We'll still try to get these games in. But before we do anything, let's take a break. When we come back, I do want to talk about Happy Gilmore 2, because I have my movie review. And I also want to talk about the coaches poll that came out for the top 25 in college football, as we have some fantastic matchups in a couple of weeks. You don't want to go anywhere. It is the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, and we'll be right back after this.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. Very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
Welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. This podcast is found on my YouTube channel and on Apple and Spotify. Not on Facebook anymore. In fact, I was actually trying to convert my Facebook page over, and changing the name means that you have to wait 60 days. And so I will bring my Facebook page back online in about 60 days, and then I could start having the show again on Facebook. But this is episode 999. Yeah, I will have my 1,000th episode next week. I'm not going to do anything special. It's just another episode. A great milestone, but, I took a long break. I got to 900 episodes about a year ago, and then paced myself and then got to 1,000 episodes. One of the reasons why I stopped doing this podcast 5 days a week is because it's not on the radio station anymore. It used to be on WQEE from 3 years. It was on the radio station starting at 2 o'clock, and it ran from 2 to 3. It was an hour-long show, and that lasted from 2022 to November of 2024. I was forever grateful for Ryan O'Neal for giving me that opportunity and taking a chance on me. I was part of a jam-packed lineup that had featured Bryce Kuhn, Rod Peterson, Mac McGee, just a great lineup. I forgot about Brian Snow. This another great broadcaster. There's so many great broadcasters in this area, and that's why I'm truly blessed that Georgia Alabama Sports Live has the talent that we have this year. When you think of, myself, Thrift Behringer, Rick Beach, Mike Peacock, Noah Shelton, Mike Frost, Paxton Hollywood, Riley Bamberger, Brandon Schwobel, Chris Gates, Cam Lindsay, who's been a guest on my podcast. We've had a lot of talent. I know I'm leaving people out. I mean, there are so many others. I got to actually look and see. We have, forgot Rex Castillo, of course, WRBL news anchor in the morning. Speaking of WRBL, it's funny. I had to bring it up because I was turning on the TV Sunday morning, and it seems like at WRBL Sunday morning they had bring your kids to work day. I'm kidding. The news anchor looked a little on the young side, but she's legit. She's just out of college, but she looked like she was in high school. But that's okay. Very talented, and they do start them young. And that's the thing about. I don't have any regrets that I started later in life. I mean, this broadcasting journey has been going on for about 5 years. And, I actually had a very long break, but I was able to get back into broadcasting. It just goes to show it's never too late to pursue your dreams. So let's go ahead and get back to the sports. I had a chance to see Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix. It looks like 60 million streams and counting. It is the most streamed movie on Netflix. And I came into this with very low expectations. It's an Adam Sandler movie. It's a Happy Madison Productions. It's a sequel. He does not do well with sequels, and most of his movies get less than 20 on Rotten Tomatoes. I was very impressed with this movie. It's not great. It's not a movie that's going to win an Oscar, but the storyline is, I wasn't a really big fan of the Maxi Golf League. It was kind of unrealistic, but I like the cameos. I like the fact that Shooter McGavin is in it, and I'm not trying to spoil the movie for anybody, but, Shooter McGavin's character gets redeemed a little bit. Wasn't a fan of the villain. I thought Eminem was great in it. Scotty Scheffler was hilarious in it. I love the fact that they had the new golfers like Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, Xander Schauffele. I was disappointed they didn't have Tiger Woods in it. If you haven't seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet, pretty much the plot of it. And it was shocking in the beginning, but, Tiger Woods did not make a cameo appearance. John Daly actually had a cameo appearance, and he was actually funny in it. But it's a good movie, and it had a pretty good storyline. Vern Lundquist stole the show as an announcer, and it's still streaming on Netflix, and it's breaking records. And so you got to give credit to the Sandman. He actually stepped up and made a decent movie. I was checking Rotten Tomatoes. It got the same score as the first Happy Gilmore. And that could be considered one of his best comedies. Now, if you rank Adam Sandler movies, obviously Hustle, Uncut Gems, Spanglish, Punch Drunk Love, those are his top movies that have gotten a very high score on Rotten Tomatoes. But if you look at just his comedies, The Wedding Singer, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, that is basically the Mount Rushmore of Adam Sandler comedies. But don't get me started on Jack and Jill, or You Don't Mess with a Zohan, or That's My Boy. Or he's had some terrible movies. This was not a terrible movie. And I was a fan of Pixels. Pixels was a fun movie for me, but that didn't get a very good rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, that was my review of Happy Gilmore 2. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears. Let's talk about the new rankings that just came out. In the world of college football, we've got the coaches poll. The AP poll is going to be similar. I am not shocked that Texas is number one in the coaches poll. They got a lot of returning starters coming back. My biggest concern is that the jury is still out on Arch Manning. Yes, I do believe Arch Manning has the skills and the talent to be the best quarterback in college football. And to be fair, Texas had a pretty easy schedule last year to get to the SEC championship. Didn't have to play Alabama, didn't have to play LSU or Ole Miss or Tennessee. I think that Texas still has a very talented team. If you look from top to bottom, they probably have the most complete team. Ohio State at number 2, Julian Sayin is now the quarterback. I think that is a downgrade from Will Howard, but they still have Jeremiah Smith, the best offensive player in college football, and Caleb Downs, the best defensive player in college football. I'm okay with that pick. I think the dark horse that everybody is talking about is Penn State with Drew Allard. Having Drew Allard come back and Penn State getting to the semifinals last year, I think that matchup between Ohio State and Penn State, which I don't think that's going to be the only time they meet. I think they meet in the Big Ten title game. I do like Penn State this year. Georgia's ranked a little high. At number 4, I still think there's a lot of question marks with Gunnar Stockton. They feel they have some unfinished business. I love Dalen Everett. I love C.J. Allen. They've got some good defensive pieces. Is Nate Frazier going to be your go-to running back that can get over 1,000 yards? Their receiving core is a little bit better this year, but still a lot of question marks with Georgia. I think their schedule very favorable. They don't have to play Clemson like they did last year. All those tough games on the road at Texas, at Alabama, at Ole Miss, they get those opponents at home. But are they ranked a little high in the coaches poll? Notre Dame at number 5. I think that Notre Dame is right where they need to be. Clemson, I think that Clemson at number 6, there were talks because Cade Klubnik was one of the top quarterbacks in college football, maybe even number 1. There was talks maybe Clemson would be number 1, but it's still Clemson who played their way into the ACC title game last year. Dabo Swinney is still not embracing the transfer portal, and Clemson trying to get back to the Clemson that we know from 2016, 2018, the Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence years. Oregon at number 7. Dante Moore is now the quarterback. He's going to be a playmaker, but, I think that Oregon having to play Ohio State, having to play Penn State, that's going to be tough for them. Alabama, are they ranked too low? At number 8, Ty Simpson, I think, is going to be a good quarterback. You got Ryan Williams. You've got some good pieces on that offensive line, including Caden Proctor, who just might be the best offensive lineman in college football. I saw a video the other day where Caden Proctor was taking on 2 Georgia defenders and was able to hold them at bay. Caden Proctor looks like a phenomenal player. I think LSU is a dark horse. LSU at number 9, Garrett Nussmeier, another quarterback who could be a Heisman contender. Miami at number 10. How well will Carson Beck be this year for a Miami Hurricanes team that they did lose some players, but they are one of the favorites in the ACC. If you look at the ACC, Clemson and Miami is looking like they could be meeting for the ACC title match. Arizona State, what a great story last year, winning the Big 12. Cam Skattebo, he's now with the New York Giants in the NFL. They almost beat Texas last year. Is Arizona State ranked a little high? Illinois ranked at number 12. 13th, South Carolina, Lenora Sellers. They're going to have a lot of momentum coming in this year. Michigan at 14 with Bryce Underwood. Remember, they get Ohio State in the big house. They got to play Oklahoma. They got a tough schedule. Ole Miss lost a lot of pieces from last year. I didn't get a chance to see Ole Miss at SEC Media Days because that was on Monday. We actually got there Monday afternoon. But, losing Jackson Dart, that's going to be a tough loss for Ole Miss. SMU, Rhett Lashley has been lashing out, no pun intended, to the SEC, but Rhett Lashley and SMU. Florida at 17. I said that Florida was a dark horse because of DJ Lagway. Tennessee at 18. Losing a player like Nico Iliamavea, they have Aguilar. I don't know if that's going to be too much of a downgrade because it's Josh Heupel, it's his offense, and he has really been a quarterback whisperer. Indiana at 19. A lot of people thought that Indiana just had the easiest schedule. They still have the easiest schedule, but we'll see what happens with Indiana. Kansas State at 20. Iowa State at 21, Texas A&M also at 21, BYU 23, Texas Tech with all that NIL money at 24, and the Boise State at 25. The others receiving votes, Oklahoma right on the outskirts. I'm proud of myself because I actually asked a question to Brent Venables at SEC Media Days. I do think that John Mateer is going to have a great season for the Oklahoma Sooners. You got Missouri and Eli Drinkowitz, Louisville, USC, Utah, Baylor. Auburn's got some votes for the coaches poll. Maybe Auburn can surprise some people and sneak into the top 25. I can't believe, college football is here. Week 0 is actually a couple of weeks away, starting with that game in Dublin, Ireland, between Iowa State and Kansas State. I'm excited to see the debut of Dan Mullen at UNLV. I'm excited to see Stanford play Hawaii. I'll probably stay up and watch that game, although that game's at 7:30. That's in the afternoon in Hawaii. But week 0, not a whole lot of games, but then the schedule really gets ready for the upcoming season starting on Thursday night, officially week 1 on August the 28th. And then, Labor Day weekend, we have just got a jam-packed lineup starting with the big noon kickoff, Texas and Ohio State. You got, I don't know, has this ever happened? If this is what the AP poll is going to be, if Texas and Ohio State is 1 and 2 in the coaches poll, and if they're 1 and 2 in the AP poll, we could get number 1 and number 2 in week 1. How awesome would that be? That would be great. Anyway, that's the coaches poll. College football is just a couple of weeks away. Why don't we take a break? When we come back, I got week 1 of high school football to talk about. You don't want to go anywhere. It's the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Back after this.
All around the world, tech companies are innovating and driving returns for investors. Our Crowd analyzes companies across the global private market, selecting those with the greatest growth potential, and then brings them to you. From personalized medicine to robotics to cybersecurity, where companies spend $150 billion annually, Our Crowd is identifying innovators so you can invest when growth potential is greatest, early. Now you can invest in Sotero, which has developed a patented new approach to data protection that eliminates the gaps of traditional methods, securing any data asset, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud. Sotero is trusted by one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies. Explore Sotero's potential at OURCROWD.com/Prager. Join the fastest growing venture capital investment community for free at OurCrowd.com/Prager.
All right. We are back. It is the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. It's episode 999. I haven't had a guest in well over 4 or 5 months. I don't know. It's been a while. But we have high school football coming up. It's on the horizon. Week 1 is about 2 weeks away because we got one more week of scrimmages. The kids are back to school. We have softball and volleyball games this week. And then we've got some media days for Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Let's get into week 1 because this is week 1 for Georgia. Alabama's week 1 will be the following week. We've got the matchup. You could see on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we got Harris County, Manchester. That's going to be at Danny Durham Field in Hamilton. You got bordering counties. You got Meriwether County going up against Harris County, a rivalry renewed. Harris County won the matchup last season. And, Manchester went on to the semifinals. They had just a great season. But, losing Justice Terry to Texas, Manchester's going to have to plug that hole that they are losing, having a player go off and play at the next level. You have Northside and Shaw. This is going to be at Kinnett Stadium. Actually, we do have 2 games on Thursday night. We got Columbus and Miller County at Kinnett Stadium and Hardaway and Jackson at Otis Spencer Stadium. That's going to be on the 14th. And to top it all off, on the 13th, Callaway is taking on Prince Avenue Christian. That's going to be at Kell High School in the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic. Also, LaGrange is going to be in the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic on the 15th of August as they are taking on Cass out of 4A. Some other matchups, week 1, we have got Brookstone hosting Tatnall Square at Max Strong Stadium. You can catch that game on Georgia Alabama Sports Live as well. The Carver Tigers, the defending 2A state champions, new coach Jarvis Jones, they are traveling up to Fayetteville to take on the Wildcats from Whitewater. Calvary Christian, year 2 in the GIAA, they are traveling down to Dawson to take on Terrell County. We've got Kendrick at Otis Spencer Stadium hosting the Walker School. Kendrick was able to get a win over the Walker School last season. They're trying to duplicate that this season. I think that Kendrick's got a very favorable schedule before they get into region play. Pacelli, under first-year coach Smitty Grider, is going to be traveling to Macon, Georgia, to take on Stratford Academy. And that is the look at week 1 for teams in Georgia. I know the Chaco is taking on Mount Zion, and Alabama doesn't start until the following week. So we do have plenty of games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live and plenty of action around the area. I'm excited to announce, because I'm going to announce this on the Sports Beat, that I will be hosting the Georgia Alabama Sports Live halftime show, which is going to air between the halves of these games. Basically, it's going to be set up in the studio, kind of like the Red Zone channel, where I have just a score ticker, and then when it gets close to halftime, I will give the score updates, and then they could take my feed and put it in their feed, and it will be the halftime show. It's going to be at the Beck Center, and it's going to be presented by the Beck Center. So looking forward to that. It's been a dream of mine to be a host of a halftime show because I'm a big score guy. I want to try to get as many score updates as possible. You know, I really enjoy doing that. That's something that just excites me because I want to just give love to all these schools around the area, including teams like Lynette, Valley, Hanley, Booker T. Washington, Sumter County, which, by the way, Sumter County is taking on Crisp County, the coaching debut of former defensive coordinator of the Carver Tigers, Coach Justin Newman. But that is what's going on week 1. I'm trying to get everything ready to go for that first week. Just a lot of moving parts, and you got to kind of roll with the punches like Van Halen says. All right, I don't really want to get into the WNBA at all because Caitlin Clark has missed her 7th straight game. It's over. If you think that Caitlin Clark's moving the needle, this has just been a washout of a season. I'm sorry. I was seriously rooting for her, but Colin Cowherd said it best when Michael Jordan got injured his 2nd season. Caitlin Clark is a transitional player, but she's got to be in the game. 7 straight games with a groin injury? I mean, come on. Even though the Indiana Fever are doing very well, they're 17-12 right now. And, you know, if she comes back for the postseason and they win a WNBA championship, then nobody's going to care. But I think that with college football and the NFL coming on the horizon, would people still continue to watch the WNBA if Caitlin Clark came back? Another just great sports story. I do want to talk about Kinley Rasmus because she has really taken the Chattahoochee Valley by storm. Even though Phoenix City Little League lost in the Southeast Regional Tournament, they won that first game. Kinley Rasmus was dominant for 2 innings, and that video went viral, well over 3 million views on the Little League Facebook page. That was just an incredible performance by Kinley Rasmus, the daughter of former Atlanta Braves pitcher Corey Rasmus. And, of course, that family has just had a rich tradition of baseball with Tony Rasmus and winning 2 straight state championships at Lakeside School winning that state championship back in 2005 with Russell County. All right, let's keep it at baseball because, the Cleanstones, obviously, they're getting ready to take on the Rocket City Trash Pandas for a 6-game series. Currently 14-19. They are 7.5 back of Pensacola, and they were able to win on Sunday over the Montgomery Biscuits down at the Gump, just an hour and a half outside of Columbus in Montgomery. And they won 2 out of the 6, but they still got a lot of work to do, taking on Rocket City. I plan on being in attendance on Saturday, but tomorrow, first pitch 7:05 at Synovus Park, and you can catch it on Sports Vision's 92.1. I do want to talk about the MLB Raceway Classic because 85,000 fans packed Bristol Motor Speedway to see the Braves defeat the Cincinnati Reds in the first Major League Baseball game in the state of Tennessee. Now that we've had 85,000 fans in Tennessee, can Tennessee support a Major League Baseball team? There's grumblings that Tampa Bay might leave. You might have like Minnesota, if they don't get a stadium deal. I mean, I know Target Field is a nice stadium, but, there are possible chances of maybe 2 expansion teams coming. I mean, that's a possibility. We could see 32 teams in Major League Baseball. I think that the city that would benefit the most of getting a Major League Baseball team is Nashville. It's a no-brainer. Look, it's no disrespect to Memphis. The Memphis has got the Redbirds, AutoZone Park, but that's a Cardinals town. Let's be honest with you. They love the St. Louis Cardinals over there in Memphis. I just don't think that Memphis can support a Major League Baseball team like Nashville can. I know Nashville's got the AAA team, the Nashville Sounds. We saw success with the Major League Soccer team, Nashville SC. Obviously, the Titans getting to the Super Bowl, their second year in Nashville. The Predators making it to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2017. Yeah, Nashville can host and can welcome Major League Baseball with open arms. I think that's a possibility. Would it be an expansion team, or would you see a team like Tampa Bay or Miami or Minnesota? Would you see one of these teams relocate to Nashville? Personally, I'd rather see 2 more expansion teams in Major League Baseball. Why not 32 teams? That would be pretty awesome. I'm telling you. All right, we had a great show. I usually go about 30 to 40 minutes. Just depends on what's going on in the world of sports. I try to do this every week. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. It's also going to be on Apple and Spotify. That's where you need to watch and listen to the show. I'll be back next week. It's going to be my 1,000th episode. Not going to be a big deal about it. Not going to be, making a big hoopla about it. If you like the show, if you like listening to the show, you know where to find me. I'm not trying to go out with big advertising or anything like that. I love talking sports. That's why I love doing this show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.